Rocky Bob, was that?
That was the one that he should not have written. That's his own words. When he managed Tommy Morrison or Tommy the Gun Morrison, nobody watched it. It was out of all the Rocky movies, it was the failure of all the Rocky movies. No, last one was Rocky Balboa.
That's fine. I was thinking of Mercedes. That's the one where he fights the new age guy, the younger guy.
Tommy Gunn.
Like the black guy, the younger black guy.
No, that's Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I thought it was good. You have to get by the Rocky 1 through 4 bias. If you grew up like me on Rocky 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you have to put that aside and say this is not the same movie. It's a good movie. But if you try to put it with the other movies, you won't like it. But good movie.
Creed should be really good.
I think it's going to be real good.
But the guy they got playing Creed is a good actor.
Yeah.
So,
His name is Michael Jordan. Wouldn't you hate to have a name like Michael Jordan? I mean, honestly, that would be great for some people, but some people are like, dang, let me change my name to George or something.
everybody you come into contact with, like,
Yeah, are you Michael Jordan's son?
or they see your name, Michael Jordan, like, oh my gosh, Michael Jordan's training.
Yeah, or they arrest you for forgery. I mean, he was the greatest, is the greatest, probably was and is the greatest basketball player, and that's from somebody that doesn't know anything about basketball. But
I've never thought about that. Signing autographs.
yeah, or signing a check. Somebody,
You're signing your name, but
you have the right to remain silent. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this as the antiderivative of the square root of 1, I'm sorry, no. Let's see if the eraser's on today. Nope. Be on tomorrow. There we go. Antiderivative of negative x squared plus 1. And then out here I'm going to write x dx. Now you could rewrite it as antiderivative of negative x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power x dx. Either way. No matter what you do, what is u going to be? U is equal to negative x squared plus 1. Therefore, du is equal to negative 2x what? Let's see what we got over here. Hey, we've got an x dx. So, Mr. Swanson, what do we need to add?
-2.
And if we put a -2 right here, that'll be du. But what do we got to put on the outside? No sneezing in class, Walt. So, that'll be negative 1/2 antiderivative of u to the what? 1/2 power du, which is equal to negative 1/2 u to the 3/2 over 3/2 plus c, which is 2/3 times negative 1/2 u to the 3/2 plus c. Negative 1/3 parentheses to the 3/2 plus c, and u is, I don't forgot what u is, negative x squared plus 1.
So do we always have to plug in u? We can't just leave it as like the answer with the u?
No, you cannot. There are some teachers that will go bonkers if you do that. those are the same teachers that will mark the problem wrong if you don't put a plus C or if you don't put a DX. They will have a connection.
Okay,
I know,
that's just,
I know.
If we did that as negative u to the 3 halves over 3, that works. Plus C, that works too.
What now?
If we did that as negative u to the 3 halves over 3, that's the same thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Make sure that negative's out in front of parentheses. Because you can't distribute it across the square. All right, number 8. Number 8 says x squared. I have no idea what that says. Somebody look in your book.
X squared EX to the third DX.
X to the third. X squared EX to the third. No snakes in the class, Mr. Brooks.
Huh? Always going, man. I know what these things.
How's Hobie doing, Mr. Miller?
Doing pretty good. It's taking efforts to do that now with 2 bodies.
So I'll have him in my class next semester with y'all?
Possibly.
I hate to say that, but
He said he's rough. He'll ask him a question, then he'll just tell him to go look at the book.
I'm gonna start doing that. Heck with this trying to teach y'all something. I'm just gonna start drawing a paycheck. That's what I need to start doing.
Like after next semester.
Huh?
Do it after next semester.
After next semester. I like the range, you script. I lost mine. I lost it when me and him went down to Livonia. I think I left it in the room and I think it got taken. Maybe somebody had a guilty conscience and give that to me, I doubt it. I know. That was my second one. I lost the first one surveying down in Waterloo. I was surveying 100 acres down there and I lost it. I have no idea where it is. And going over 100 acres in the fall when all the leaves are on the ground, no chance. Ordered another one and lost it, so I'm not ordering the third one. Plus, it gets me in too many fuses to see that ring and people start making fun of me and I get in the fuss. And I'm just kidding. All right, Mr. Shallow, you gonna come up and show everybody how to do this one? I believe you do it, Mr. Shallow. All right, you gotta remind me what it is, because I ain't pulling it back up again, not till the next problem.
X squared
Antiderivative of x squared e
to x to the third.
e to the x to the third
Yeah.
dx.
Yep.
All right, first thing I'm going to do is rewrite it. Antiderivative of e to the x to the third x squared dx. Now I'm going to make u equal x to the third. Therefore, du is equal to 3x squared what? We've got x squared. Some of y'all, the light's coming on. But how many times have we done these problems? at least, counting last Thursday, we probably did 4 or 5 last Thursday. This is about our 10th problem. Somebody look back. It's taking, Is it? It's taking you 9 problems, and some of y'all still haven't, the light hasn't turned on yet. But I know a couple of y'all the light has turned on today. And that's 8 and 9 problems. Just imagine what would happen. You know, if I gave y'all work to do at home, y'all could reinforce that. I need to think about doing that. What could we call it? Homework. That might be a concept I need to think about. Okay? I'm sorry, I was staring awkwardly at somebody. All right. Antiderivative. Now, Mr. Swanson,
Yes.
what do we have? We have 1/3 of the antiderivative of what? U. What? du. Because we've got u, or e to the u, sorry. E to the u, du, sorry. E to the u, du. Speaking of Mr. Schaller, did you get your classes? Kind of helps if the advisor puts the right year in.
I was going to say though, if anybody here hasn't registered, by the time I registered, there was only like 10 seats open left in your class. Yeah. So
Wow.
if anybody's late on that, you should get to it.
Well, it looks like you're going to be teaching Calc 2. Woo!
You're not going to make it. You're going to be taking Calc 1 with Dr. Gabati at penalty campus.
Nah, man, I'm going to make you pass it.
Oh, wow.
You're famous.
No, there's a lot of people failing. Plus the ones. How many of y'all have added it? You've added it? Did you add it? Raise your hand. How many have added it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means 12 are coming in. Wow. Wow. That means 12 people are failing it. Tell Hobie.
Thank you for the one that's telling people.
All right, 1/3 be what? Antiderivative e to u is e to the u plus c, and u is equal to x to the 3rd. So 1/3 e x to the 3rd plus c. How many work problems did we do? Anybody take a note of that? Okay, that's fine. Don't talk to me. That's fine.
Word problems?
The work problems we did last unit. How many of those did we do? In class? I'd say we probably did close to 20, didn't we? There's something about that, doing problems. I really need to think about doing that. I don't know, take it up with my department head, call it homework. Is this the one we're doing? No, that's not. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's
Hey, let's just do the rest of them. Go ahead with number 9 and 10. That says 1 minus 2x. What is that, Mr. Schaller? 9?
9.
To the 9th power dx. 1 minus 2x, quantity to the 9th power dx. And then 10 is sine of t times the square root of 1 plus cosine of t dt. I would make u equal negative 2x plus 1, and then u equal 1 plus cosine of t, because it's more complicated. I mean, you could probably make u equal sine of t and do it fast backwards. You could probably still get the same answer. Just take twice as many steps. What'd you say, Miss Anthony?
Never
I do agree with Trump on one thing about Carson. He says he can't negotiate with China and Japan. I do agree with him on that. I think Trump is the best person to do that.
Hey, who said what?
He was saying that Carson, he was interviewed this morning on Fox News, and he said that he likes Carson, and I think he wants Carson to be a vice presidential candidate. He'd be stupid not to.
You seen look over at LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Where he took
Mhm.
down whoever about
Either he or Fiorina.
I think they're
I think either one of them will be a good vice presidential candidate.
So that if they fight each other, it's gonna hurt both of them.
Yeah.
They're gonna hurt each other instead.
Well, if they combine, they'll take half or more of
Yeah,
the
they already have
Republican votes. I mean, the only ones left are the Republican elite who are too arrogant to, can't tell them who to vote for. They got to vote for who. I'm not
Who
disappointed.
said they can't negotiate with Japan or China?
He said that Carson is out of his element,
Right.
and I agree with that. I like Carson, and I think he'd make a good president, but I think Trump has got him on business and negotiation and being not clever, not smart, but cunning.
Just experience.
Cunning and experienced and shrewd. In other words,
It's more like straightforward.
He, yeah.
I mean, like.
yeah,
very
but
aggressive.
but Trump, he can make a deal with you and you end up selling your house to him for nothing and you wouldn't even know it, whatever that word that is. I mean, he's very clever.
Well, he's super rich, too.
Yeah.
That's why he's like,
You don't get that way if you're not clever.
and he said Mexico paid for the giant wall. Now, I guarantee us that he owns tons of businesses in Mexico that he'll threaten to pull out if they don't make that wall. And he has that power that no one else will have.
Yeah. And we want a politician over that? No.
And how ironic is it that the two leaders are neither politicians?
I think that's correct.
Did you hear about him going to Iowa? Because he's down by like 14 points in Iowa.
It all depends on what poll you look at.
Yeah.
That poll that was several weeks ago, I got on Facebook and I said, this poll is bogus. It had 6 to 8 plus or minus point margin of origin. You don't put a poll up nationally if it's 6 to 8 points margin of error.
Yeah.
You don't put that up. They put it up because they wanted to hurt him for the debate.
But he went to Iowa and was like basically scolding.
Yeah, y'all get my numbers up. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Like I was listening to Rush Limbaugh over the weekend, like on the way home from Raleigh,
Mhm.
and they was talking about how the liberal media wants him to. They want to like kill him because they were saying like he was begging for votes by doing that.
The liberal media don't want him. The plantation doesn't want him. The establishment doesn't want him. Wall Street doesn't want him. And China and Mexico don't want him.
My dad said that by the end of the election that the media's going to come out with some big secret.
Oh yeah, they're gonna plant a
They're gonna
prostitute
say-
in his heart. That's what they did to Herman Cain.
And they
They're
said
gonna
that
do
he's gonna have,
something.
like Mexicans working for him,
Mhm.
and because he doesn't want.
They're gonna make up something.
Yeah.
And the plantation is gonna make up something on Carson.
They can't. He's clean.
They're gonna plant something. They're gonna do something. You wait and see.
Well, they're gonna try.
They'll try. The plantation don't want Carson to run.
He's actually announced he's put his campaign on hold for the time being.
Why?
Like promote his book and do something else.
Who?
Carson.
He put his plantation on hold. I mean, plantation. His thing on hold.
That's what Rush Limbaugh said.
Okay, whatever.
Do you listen to Rush Limbaugh?
No, I don't listen to Rush Limbaugh because I don't agree with him all the time. I agree with him most of the time, but I don't agree with him all the
You don't
time.
agree with him all the time, you can't listen to him.
I just don't. He's not on Fox News, and I listen to Fox News all the time. And if he was on Fox News Network, I would listen to him, but I just don't. Let's see. I'm going to change this. Minus 2x plus 1 to the 9th power dx. U is equal to negative 2x plus 1 du is equal to negative 2 dx, negative 2, negative 1/2. So we've got negative 1/2 u to the 9th, I'm sorry, u to the 10th over what? Over 10 plus c. And clean that up. That's 10 over 1, 1 over 10, be negative 1/20th u to the 10th plus c. Negative 1/20th u to the 10th plus c, and you could write that 2 or 3 different ways. How many have you got? 3. Come on, people. Okay. 4. All right. I'm going to rewrite this as antiderivative of the square root of 1 plus cosine t dt, sine t dt. And the reason I'm rewriting it is because I want this to be u, because it's most complicated what's inside. And I also know that the derivative of the cosine is the what? Negative sine, Hubert. So we've got that. So antiderivative, or u, sorry, u is equal to 1 plus cosine of t. du is equal to 0 minus what? What's the derivative of cosine? Oh my gosh. We've got
Priority 1 message
sine of
coming
t
in on
dt.
secured channel.
But
So-
don't you have to do negative?
Huh?
Don't you have to do negative?
Mm-hmm. So we put a negative 1 here and put a negative 1 here. Now I'm throwing it out there as a negative 1 because I don't want y'all to just throw it in there. I want you to be able to understand what you're doing. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So now we've got negative 1 times the antiderivative of the square root of u, what? du. Well, the square root of u is what? U to the 1/2. So that's antiderivative of u to the 1/2 du. So now you've got the power rule, which is u to the 3/2 over 3/2. I should have worn my Band-Aid. My finger's already getting raw. So that's going to be negative u to the 3/2 over 3/2 plus c negative 2/3 u to the 3/2 plus c negative 2/3. U is equal to 1 plus cosine of t to the 3/2 plus c. All right, y'all do number 11 and 12.
What's the derivative of
I have no idea. You tell me. Well, what will that pi do? What are you going to do with that pi?
change it to
What are you going to do?
Make it be
Huh? Pull it out. What is pi? It's a number. There's a couple of things I would do before I started this problem. Because we all know it makes life easier if we can spot things, right? Yes, Hubert, makes things easier if we can spot things. Thank you, class, for being interactive. So, what can I do to make this easy? Well, first of all, I'm going to pull that pi out. And I'm going to write cosine, not of t over 2, but what? How can I write t over 2? 1/2 what? T. dt. Now, should I even try to use cosine as u? No. Why? Somebody tell me why you're not even thinking about using cosine as u.
You're outside.
You don't have sine in the problem. And you know the derivative of sine, or the antiderivative of sine is cosine. There's no sine in the problem. So forget the cosine. You're going to make u equal to the only other thing that's in the problem. And that is what? 1/2 t. Why? Well, what is du? 1/2. Wait a minute. 1/2 dt. If I put a 1/2 there, I put a what? 2 there. How do you play chess? You don't know. Huh? Strategically, mean you move one move per move, or what? How do you play chess?
Think ahead.
You think ahead. At least what? 3 or 4 moves? 5 moves? Why? What does that got to do with this? Before you even start the problem, what should you be doing? You should be thinking, okay, if I make u equal cosine of theta, then du has to equal sine of theta or negative sine of theta, whatever the case may be. Well, heck, there's no sine. You're not going to multiply by 1 over sine and then sine out. You ain't going to do that. Okay? So, that tells you, okay, well, I don't use a sine for u, so that only leaves one thing. 1/2 t. And look at there. Gives us du equals 1/2 dt. So we need to put a 1/2 right here and 2 out there. So that's going to give us 2 pi times the antiderivative. There's some jelly in there if you want it, Paul. The antiderivative of the cosine of u, what? du. Well, here's the cosine of u, and then what is this? Cosine of u, put a little cloud around it. There's cosine of u. Now, could you have gotten that from looking at it right there? No. Right here it's camouflage. You can't see it.
Priority one
That's
message
why
unsecured
they
chat.
wrote it like that.
Priority
To
one
make
message
you feel like,
unsecured
I can't
chat.
do this problem, I need to just forget it and go to one of these easier problems. The first step of solving a problem, whether it's financial, personnel, mechanical, first step is to see what you got in the parts of the problem. And that's what all this calculus is for. Manipulation and finding parts of the problem, breaking it up, pulling stuff out that you don't need. It's training your brain to solve problems. Nobody's ever going to walk up to you and ask you what the antiderivative of cosine pi blah 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 dt. Nobody. But whether you're in personnel, financial, health, mechanical, civil, whatever, the first thing they're going to ask you, here's a problem, solve it. You don't just go into a machine in an industry and say, hand me the hammer. Wham, wham, wham. You don't do that. Unless you're challenged. Okay? Anybody in here watch Gold Rush? You do? I watch it too. Me and my son watch it. They get a big hammer and tear stuff up. And half of them can't even drive the equipment they're driving. I'll show you.